Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Rugby World Cup. This one, Wales taking on Portugal. Now, Portugal are a bit of the unknown. We have not seen them in action as of yet for this Rugby World Cup 2023 competition, whereas Wales, they had themselves a hard-fought victory last week up against Fiji. So they currently sit not too badly in Pool C, but they will be looking to build here. As you can see, we will currently leave Pool D out of it, as Samoa are actually above Japan after their most recent win over Chile, but Wales sitting in second with the 5 points. They walked away from that game with the bonus point. Fiji and their narrow loss did walk away with the 2 points, but at the moment, Georgia, they are the one side that no one quite knows what to expect from at this point. I'm looking forward to seeing the Portuguese in action. I have to say, as you guys know, I absolutely love the colour yellow. This Welsh kit, I think, is my favourite of the whole World Cup. They are wearing the alternative strip, which is yellow and black. It looks very nice indeed. But looking through at the starting lineups and reserves for these two sides. First of all, Wales, they have made quite a few changes from what we did see in their game up against the Fijians. It is Nicky Smith in the front row alongside Dewey Lake and Dylan Lewis. Christ Chinza at 4, and it will be Duff Jenkins as the number 5, Dan Lydiard at 6, Tommy Refo at 7, and Tolupe Faletau, a very dangerous Faletau, at number 8. I think I say that about every single number 8 around the world. I just enjoy the idea of them breaking off the back of the scrum, causing problems for the opposition. Thomas Williams at number 9 with Gareth Anscombe as the number 10, Williams and Grady as the midfield combo, and then Dyer, Lewis Rees-Zammit, and Lee Halfpenny, the veteran, at the back at number 15. Now this Portuguese side, this will be our first ever game that we have called for Portugal, but Fernandes in the front row, Alves going to be a number 3, and those two props, from what I've heard, should be relatively decent in this game up against the Welsh. Marquez at number 9, and Portela, another combination that will be extremely important. Appleton at 12 with Lima on his outside. Appleton the captain for this game. Dewey Lake, he will be the captain for Wales. Pinto, Marta, and Guedes at number 15 as well for the Portuguese. But we are just about to have the national anthems, ladies and gentlemen. Then we are right into this match. Looking through at the previous fixtures for the Welsh, they did get themselves the win over England, 20 points to 9. But then in the return match, they did end up being defeated, 19 points to 17. They had their loss to South Africa, 52 points to 16 there. And then their game up against Fiji, it was the first of the Rugby World Cup for the two sides. Wales narrowly getting past the Fijians, 32 points to 26. Portugal, we haven't seen as much of them in the last little while. August 13th, they did end up taking on the USA in Portugal. They managed to win that game, 46 points to 20. And then in the game up against Australia, a 30 points to 17 loss, which is why some people feel that they could be a little bit of a dark horse in this group in terms of causing upsets, because we saw them up against what some people considered a better Australia A side than what the Wallabies had put out on the field for that week. So Portugal, do not underestimate them, but I believe if Wales are able to start this match quickly, they should be able to find that momentum nicely. But the big thing will be the discipline. We saw them give away 17 penalties in their last game. And thanks for the great commentary between the ABs and Namibia yesterday. So I'm back tonight for Wales versus Portugal, says Jaco Van Staden there. And also we've got their Wales by 25. Let's go. And of course we've got 5 more matches taking place, including this one for the Rugby World Cup round 2. We can see the tears in the eyes of the Portuguese players. They talked about it a little bit before the game. They said that for Portugal here, the players feel they need a side to look up to around the world, the young Portuguese players, and they're hoping that they can make themselves that side that they do look up to. Hello, Hamish Bro, says Michelle, welcome in. And also go Portugal, says Loki. And what is your prediction for this match, says AJS. So in my overall prediction from earlier on that I did before we knew the lineups, before we knew anything about this Rugby World Cup, Portugal has a dentist in their starting XP, so that will be very handy if any players get their teeth knocked out throughout this encounter. But yeah, my prediction for this game, I believe I went with a relatively close one. I went with, here it is, Wales 39, Portugal 14. So not actually that close. But I think that Wales, they'll be looking to get themselves a bonus point here, because if they somehow lose this game, then all of a sudden it opens the door up once again for the Fijians to have another chance of making their way through to the quarterfinals. But Wales, they made quite a few changes. It's the 50th cap here for Thomas Williams, getting to start this game at number 9. Big opportunity for him. Show exactly what he can do. And who? Says AJS. I assume that is who is the dentist in the lineup. I'm not actually too sure who the dentist is in their starting side. I assume AJS. Or sorry, Mo will know who it is. A morning. Aptawas. Hello, Kiwi lad. Says cool K. Yeah, the Warriors getting themselves the win. An impressive fashion as well, winning by 30 points, which is a massive victory for them. Hopefully they will be able to continue that momentum all throughout the rest of the NRL competition. We were thinking about covering that game on the channel, but I was worried if I did that I was going to jinx them. So I decided against it in the end, and it seems like it was the right decision as they walked away with their large win. Do you Wales, or do you think Wales can win without Gareth Edwards? Says Clef Bailey. Without Gareth Edwards. I feel like I should know who that is, and the name is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of who that is. I know that they haven't got Dan Bigger and Liam Williams in the back line for this game. Also missing Josh Adams. He is instead coming off the bench. It sucks that the ABs and the Bok is meeting up in the quarterfinals. Says AJS, and Aptawa says a Blues Nate there as well. But do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, who do you think will be the first try scorer, best scrum half in the world? Says Clef Bailey. Oh, wait, no, you're not talking Gareth Davids, are you? Gareth Edwards. I'm going to have to Google him quickly. Oh, former rugby player, I believe, is what it's come up there. I was very confused with the fact that he wasn't playing in this game, but he hasn't been playing for a while. Well, it looks like him, 76 years of age. His birthday's 2 days before my mum's. Fun fact there. From the 70s, says Cleve. Yeah, Thomas Williams, I'm sure he'll want to live up to that expectation and go well in his 50th game. Carl Dixon in charge of this one. Playing a little bit of Avicii at the ground by the sounds of it, trying to fire up the crowd, fire up Wales, although from doing that national anthem, they will, of course, be ready to go in this game. I have Zammit as the first try scorer. Who do you have? I think that I'm going with Dan Lydiot for the Welsh, although the trend has been that the minnow sides or the underdogs have been scoring the first try, so perhaps we need to look at someone in that side for Portugal. So if I had to guess a Portuguese player, I would go with Matambello, the lock, to be able to walk in and get himself the first try. I absolutely love this Welsh kit, as I have already mentioned. The yellow and the black looks absolutely fantastic. Makes me want to be a Welsh fan just so that I can get that kit. But you got to get the shorts as well because they have the yellow on there too. But Thomas Williams, 22 metres out from the line, does now go with the up and under. It's an ugly bit of contact in the air between the two fullbacks. Now Wales, they have got the ball available. Gareth Anscombe goes on the outside here. Grady gets a start at number 13. Portugal, they'll have to really rely on their defence here if they are able to get themselves the momentum early on in this fixture. Did you see tears flowing down when Portugal was singing their national anthem? I did indeed. You can see the passion is there for this side. And it's just that question mark of whether not playing last week will impact them in a good or a bad way. Alves making a very good driving tackle there. A little bit of a counter-ruck from Portugal. They do have to use this quickly. Now Wales, looks like Grady once again going to drive his legs on the short side of the field. Moving now up to the halfway line. Thomas Williams looking for the sniping run around the side to Talupe Faletau. Taken down very close to the turnover for Portugal in the breakdown. Again, they are putting pressure on. Fernandez. Lucia Prop making the tackle there on Nicky Smith. Anscombe back across now to Williams. Grady almost going through. Couldn't find his offload away though. And Portugal on the ball. They win the penalty as well, the Portuguese. First penalty. Oh, the match goes their way. As a quarterfinal between the All Blacks and the Box. Carsten Stone says, Mo, it's getting more and more close to being confirmed. It all depends on what happens in South Africa Islands game. And of course, New Zealand versus Italy as that other one. So far, 2 games, 2 hidings. Says Brian Lawrenson. Yeah, although to a certain extent, the teams who have been underdogs have still put in a little bit of a decent showing. You know, like Chile scoring the first try up against Samoa was once again very impressive from them, going into halftime almost square other than that last minute try. Namibia versus New Zealand, it's always going to be one-sided. Uruguay, I think, are the team at the moment who have caused the most, I guess, or the closest thing to an upset. Because Chile in the first half, they did well. And then Uruguay just hanging on to it a little bit longer. For Portugal, they come in as about $15 underdogs for this game, but I would like to think that they'll make it a little bit closer than that. Nicely claimed at the front there. Looping around the back. Inside ball from Portugal. Fantastic work from their backs here. It is going to be now Rodrigo Mata. Gets it off to Francisco Fernandez. It looks like there might be a bit of an injury here, though, to Tajia. Hopefully nothing too serious. They will now go onto the left-hand side. In fact, they decide right is the better option. Marquez. 15 metres out from the line in Portugal. Still having their attack in play. Short ball now to the big man in number 8, Simões. Now across again, Portugal inside centre. One more out wide to the fullback, Guedes. Dewey Lake has to make the tackle there, and they are an under penalty advantage now for Portugal, with Wales being offside. Score prediction says Andreas. My original one was 39 points to 14, I believe the score was, but I'm thinking it's going to be a lot closer than that. Gareth Edwards, the greatest try of all time. All Blacks vs Barbarian, 1973, and the greatest match of all time, says Cleef. And go Portugal, surprise everyone, says Goldberg. So they are going back now for the advantage. What day is it in England, says Daniel. It makes me very concerned, Daniel, the amount of times you ask that with the fact that you live in England, whereas I'm in New Zealand. But you are still sitting on the same day that I told you a couple hours ago. You're still on the 16th. For quite a few hours more. Hello from Compton, California. Says Jack, welcome in again. And someone's been in a coma for a while, says Gareth. And also 48 to 10, says Andreas for his score prediction. But a good start to this match for Portugal. Beautiful inside ball from Tajia to get it off to Bruno. What time is it in England, says Daniel. Once again, you are still in England, so I'd like to think that you'd know, but I believe you are sitting at 4:52 p.m. in the majority of England at the moment. And now, I should know how to say that name, and I always forget it, unfortunately. And it's not Lewin, is it? Or is it? Averona is back. Welcome in again. Then you have another pie that's missed there for Portugal. Hit the post and bounced away to the right, which does now mean that after 5 minutes, the score will remain at 0-0 between these two teams. Cams, we also big up the South African Lionesses today. They are beating Kenya by 30 points at the moment, and Wales the Intercept Kings, says Stephen. And correct on the UK time, says Igor. Now, 22 drop out here for Wales. You wonder whether or not Portugal, yes, getting those early 3 would have been nice, but I think they're going to need a few tries throughout this contest if they do want a good chance of being able to beat Wales. Jack Morgan has come into the side. That sounds like it is because of an injury of Tommy Reffel, is what they have said there, or at least one of the loose forward trio got injured just before the game. Wide cut out pass from Portugal, beautiful. Out to will be the big number 7 in this case, Martins. Tackle there by Christ Chinza. It's going to be play on, and Wales get the ball back. Lewis Rees-Zammit close to the touchline. Portugal taking it straight back after that, though. It's a seesaw at the moment. Bit of pressure on Thomas Williams inside of the 22. Tackled well. Portugal not getting themselves that turnover. Should George North retire after the following Six Nations? He's probably getting a little bit closer to the end of his career, although he's still playing some pretty decent rugby overall. We have got there, Irish. Daniel is winding you up. Love him off, says Mark there. I just worry that maybe Daniel doesn't have a watch. That might be the one thing that we've got to work on. What time is Wales versus Portugal finish? Says Daniel. So this game, it started. Well, it's actually a tricky one because the game between Samoa and Chile went a lot longer than it was supposed to. But you're supposed to be finishing at about, I would say, 5:45 a.m. New Zealand time, which is 6:45 for you because you forgot. Now, sitting 50 metres out, Portugal in position once more. They've actually had a lot more of the ball in the early stages of this game compared to Wales. Now going for the little chip in behind. 2 Portuguese players chasing him, beautifully taken, although does end up isolating himself there. Thomas Appleton, the captain. Portugal are out on a mission at the moment, and Wales getting caught well and truly, unexpectedly, by Portugal's attack. But they haven't conceded. That is the big thing here. They can have a whole heap of line breaks, Portugal, but if they aren't able to score any points on the board, that is where the problem will arise. But nice flat ball again to Martins. Finds the offload away this time to Marquez. Good attack and run. Offload on the inside from Portugal. Wales are definitely feeling the pressure. Little kick in behind from a prop. That is normally why they don't do the kicking, because now Wales have got the ball back in the form of Rio Dyer. I wish you are not the type to give wrong directions when a stranger asks you, hey? Says Gareth, not really, no. I normally, if I don't know, I'll tell them I don't know rather than making it up, just in case I send them in the wrong way. Daniel, too many beers. Says Mark then, England is an hour behind. South Africa says Morning Lagrange. They certainly are, but now Wales inside of the Portuguese half. Thomas Williams skip pass now out to, I believe that is going to be Jack Morgan. And number 7, kicked him behind by Lewis Rees-Zammit. The ball sits up off his grubber and he'll score the first try of the match for Wales. Oh, now he's just done the Sue celebration, paying homage to Cristiano Ronaldo in front of the Portuguese fans. That's not going to go down well. And go well, says Robert. This is the lowest team that qualified ahead of the US. Says Gus. A great bit of work from Portugal on attack throughout that first 8 minutes, but unfortunately for them, it is as soon as Wales got themselves that turnover that had led to them getting the try. Lewis Rees-Zammit putting on the extra burst of pace. And also Kimru. I got Lewis Rees-Zammit in my fantasy as a triple captain today. Good start for me, especially since the previous 2 games killed me with the card. Shake my head, says LB. Kicks it in behind, sets up for him, scores the try, and then in front of the Portuguese crowd, gives them the sue. And also we've got their low blow with the CR7 celebration, says bystander. Yeah, it's one of those ones that, you know, I don't think the crowd are going to appreciate it. I hope Portugal pip them now, says bystander. Make it 52-10 like the old Nokia. That was a really good trolling, says Gareth. Now, speaking of Gareth Enscombe going to be taking on this kick. No, he's not. That's Lee Halfpenny. Kicking boots today, and it's gone down the middle. That's going to make the score now 7-0 for Wales after the 10 minutes. Now, I should mention there is one more game taking place tonight. It is going to be the matchup between Ireland and Tonga. How does penalty work on rugby? So that is when a team does something bad, and then from there, they can get 3 points if they're close to the post. Yep. I love equality mistakes, says Sebastian, but now kicked off by Portugal. Kicking it high. And now it's going to be a nicely taken there, just outside of the 22 for Wales. Wales for sure, says Destiny. And should Daniel go to the shadow zone? No, I think we leave Daniel. Daniel's just a curious fellow, learning about time and games. High. Nicely taken there by, I believe it would have been Portela for the Portuguese. Who do you want to win? I mean, it would make Pool C a lot closer if the Portuguese cause an upset here. But I believe that because Wales are wearing yellow and black, and I quite like that combination, I'm pretty impartial in this game. Ireland versus Tonga should be good, says LB. And Wales will remove all Portuguese players their teeth, says Destiny. Well, the good news is that there is a Portuguese dentist in their side, so they will be able to probably fix a few of the teeth overall. And doing a sue against Portugal is outrageous. Shows Wales standards, to be fair, says James. Now the ball has been put up high. It's going to be knocked sideways by Thomas Williams. Anscombe there. He did recently play a game for the Barbarians. Now on the outside to Grady. Now Lewis Rees-Zammit taken down early by Bruno. Manages to get himself out of the breakdown of the Welsh collaborating with the Hurricanes on the kit. Yeah, I really like it, to be fair. Looks very nice indeed with the yellow. I would wear that every day if I had that kit. I would wash it, of course, in between, but I think it's obvious that I like yellow, isn't it? Now, going to be Jenkins. Portugal trying to get the turnover, not quite able to. Now back across to the left-hand side, the captain, Dewey Lake, hit hard in the tackle by his opposite number, Tajir. A divine sui, please, says Igor. So pretty much it is the celebration that Ronaldo does when he scores goals in football. So he'll do like the jump and then the sue at the end. So that is why Lewis Rees-Zammit decided he wanted to do it up against the Portuguese to try and annoy them. And black and yellow kits is tasty, says LB. And morning, lad, says Pearson. Or sorry, says Person. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well. And Lowell says Robert. And also, we've got CR7 can intervene. He will score 2 tries, I guess, says Destiny. But now, currently 12 and a half minutes through. Dewey Lake. Go for this line-out throw. Who do you want to win? Like I said, I'm pretty impartial on this one. I wouldn't mind either way. Whoever walks away with this game. Now rolling maul. Dewey Lake at the back. I do the unthinkable. Portugal and win this game, backfiring or backing Portuguese team all the way. Where the South Africans are very happy, says Naomi. And it will be the knock-on from Wales. Thomas Williams looking at his forwards going, why did you do that, son? The Welsh Bumblebees, says Person 1. Cristiano or CR7 is probably better than some of the Welsh players, to be fair. I'd have a good laugh if it's trademark, says Gareth. We have got technically Ronaldo says Sui, but it sounds like Sui, says LB. And this is an opportunity for Wales to score even more than 10 tries, says Destiny. Although I don't think Portugal will be rolling over easy. They'll want to try and do very well. And to be fair, throughout the start of this game, first 13 minutes, other than that little mistake when we saw Wales get that line break, I would say that Portugal have been doing a lot better than some were anticipating. We've got who do you want to win from Daniel. I think Daniel doesn't just not know time, he doesn't know how to listen. That was very mean. I apologise, Daniel. You probably won't hear that anyway, but yeah. We'll go Wales, just so that you have a definite answer, so that you don't ask 17 more times. Now, scrum's gone down on the front row. I'm going to have a reset. I missed yesterday's All Blacks match against Namibia. How they gone? They dominated or not? Yeah, they did very well in that game. Of course, they still have a lot to work on in terms of the penalties and the handling that was happening for the All Blacks, but I think the second half they went a little bit better. Got 3 Welsh players in my fantasy squad. They better bloody smash them. Wales have their own issues. Nearly losing to Fiji. They were in no position to be showboating like that, says Jack. Yeah. To be fair, I think Lewis Rees-Zammit would be the only Portuguese player to do that, though. Portugal impressed me so far, says Mono Lagrange. Yeah, they're looking very good throughout the early stages. That is a rough scrum. Quick tap taken, though, by Portugal. And now using their back line. Predominantly going to this left wing so far. Bruno runs onto the ball. Now one-on-one with Lewis Rees-Zammit. He's taken him down on the halfway line. A little bit of a counter-ruck there from Williams. That was flat, maybe even forward from Portugal. But finding offloads, beautiful work with the handling. That is something that has been thoroughly impressive for Portugal throughout this game, is the fact that the ball is going to hands and they have not really dropped the ball too often. Chinza making that tackle there. Oh, that's going to be a drop ball. I jinxed that really badly. I do apologise. I have a feeling one of the Portuguese players will bite Wales player and get a red card, says Destiny, and Portugal impressed me so far. And hey, Bez, how's it going, mate? Says Person 1. Now Thomas Williams. 50 metres out from the line, Anscombe. Short pass up to Dewey Lake. Hello, says Gareth. Now it's kicked in behind from Anscombe. Doesn't sit up nicely for them. Portugal managing to swat it back, and the counter-attacking opportunity. Brilliant step there from the fullback. Guedes, he puts the ball on the inside. It's a foot race here between Talupe Faletau, and he has just managed to win it up against the number 7. Kicked forward there. Maybe a knock-on from Portugal, although now they're in the breakdown. They haven't been able to get the turnover. How's it, Obi? If Portugal win, I break my TV, says Destiny. That would be very unfortunate. How many inches is your TV? Just to clarify, I said the TV because, people might try and cut that up. Now, Thomas Williams rolling that one back. Now, Portugal must win, says Vitamin Green. I predicted, or Green, I should say, and I predicted the first try scorer, says AJS. Now, near the touchline, doesn't find touch with it. Portela going back across to Guedes, who's already had a couple decent runs. Tries Chinza, gets him down there. Wales losing their foot, but I've said that it's not releasing penalty 1 instead. Portugal will win this, Destiny, says Jack. Who's your pick to win the Rugby World Cup? Hamish, says Adam. My pick at the very start was the Springboks. I think for now I'm still sticking with that. Got a smart TV, so I definitely will destroy mine, says Luke. And also, I'm great, thanks guys. Bit of a hit goal, but all good, says Person 1. So hopefully that does get better for you soon. Robert has also got the thumbs up And there, hit that like button. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are live for every game of the Rugby World Cup. So if you do want to help us out, it is greatly appreciated. How many more games left today? Just the one. Can't just ask people how big they're... Which is why I clarified the TV, of course. That was a great foot race, though, between, I believe it would have been Granate as well as Talupe Falatau. And in the end, Falatau just had that little bit more pace. If Wales win the World Cup, I'll destroy all my electronics. It's a 65-inch. Break it into pieces of Portugal win. That is a big TV, to be fair. Now it's become a rolling maul. Wales have to try and get this ball out of it. Looks like it is going to keep on marching forward. Where has the ball ended up? It's actually popped out on the side of the Portuguese here. And they have got themselves another turnover. Knock-on advantage here. Only a few metres out from their line. Another offload. Doesn't quite go to the hands. And now clearing kick there from the youngster Guedes at number 15. And also, I'll help you break your stuff, says Adam. Warriors off to Brisbane for the semi, says person 1. Yeah, very well done by the Warriors. I didn't want to jinx them, so we didn't cover that game on the channel. 65-inch TV, that must be pricey, says AJS. And also we've got there a great answer, says Adam. And also when in the box playing, they are playing tomorrow at 3 p.m. South African time. We will be live at 2 p.m. South African time though, and that is also 12 a.m. New Zealand time for quite a bit of build-up for that game. Nice big attack and run there from Johnny Williams. Rio Dyer around the side of the breakdown, finds the offload away to Christ Chinza. He's carving up the middle now. Passes off to Thomas Williams. Massive shot on him and isn't able to find the offload that he needed. That's awkward. That clean out. And I would actually say that should be a penalty to Portugal if the last game is anything to go off. But the ball is popped out for the Portuguese now on the short side, looking for the offload. Player taken off the ball, but they say that he wasn't involved in the play. Thomas Williams off to Dewey Lake now. And the penalty does go the way of Portugal for playing the man off the ball. Pulling 10 back. That would have been against Jack Morgan. Portugal rugby team is super weak. Even Namibia can beat them, says Destiny. I wouldn't guarantee that. I think that what we've seen already from them has shown that they are definitely a lot better than a lot of people anticipated. So I feel like it's always weird, isn't it? The amount of people who try and talk down on these smaller nations in the world of rugby rather than trying to get behind them and supporting them so that rugby can grow as a whole and you're introducing it to new audiences. I feel like if we keep on just backing the top sides and saying no one else can play rugby as good as us, you're going to lose your game of rugby because there'll be no financing, there'll be no budget behind it. Players will end up going overseas and you won't see them again. Mooney with a hat-trick, Estazen with 2, and Mapimpi with 2. Watch, says AJS. We want more teams to be competitive. Also, World Rugby refuses to allow small teams to play big teams regularly in order for them to develop, says James Cody. And when they do let them play the big teams, people complain about it. So it's a really hard one, isn't it? And Portugal is doing really good. Good on them. Yeah, exactly right. Doing brilliantly throughout the first stages of this match. Wales are much better than they looked this summer, says Gus. And Dentist starts taking Red Dragon's teeth out before it bites, says Tangata. And also, we have got there, how much is a 65-inch TV in New Zealand? Not sure how much. They're probably like 1,000 and something, I'd say. With cost, I feel like USA should compete seriously. They have big boys, says Adam, but they aren't at this Rugby World Cup. They actually missed out. They lost to Chile, who have qualified for this Rugby World Cup, and they also missed out on the repechage. And it was Portugal who managed to beat them in that game. And I think Portugal have beaten them the last 2 times that they've played the USA. Just saying, you know, statistically wise, Portugal a little bit higher. Great player from Portugal, says Chad the Cat. And Namibia amateurs, give them time, says Goldberg. Exactly right. Like, these smaller nations aren't going to become world champions overnight. And in fact, it's going to take decades for some of them to be able to develop to the stage of being able to compete at the biggest level. But it's about trying to keep people interested in rugby, no matter where they are in the world, knowing that they've got a side that they can look at in international rugby and go, yep. And USA lost to Chile. That is surprising, says AJS. And also add a relegation system to the Six Nations. You will develop a lot more teams, says James Cody. And I agree sports need to go to, or here too. Can't believe US and Canada didn't make it, says Tangata. And it was down to the fact that Chile were able to beat them. Now, chance again. Nicely thrown in by Portugal on the halfway line. The smaller nations won't compete while World Rugby has given the IRU all the funds. Says Gareth, and Portugal messed the USA up a couple months ago, says Gus. In fact, they only played, I think, about half a month as well. And more of those compilation videos of rugby's biggest tackles. Says Rugby, yeah, we've seen a couple big hits already coming in this game. 20 minutes in, currently 7-0 at the moment in favour of Wales. We must grow rugby, they need funding, says Goldberg. Exactly right. Nice take from Lee Halfpenny at the back. Shouldn't World Cup winning coaches go and coach tier 2 nations? Says Stefan. I mean, it's a take that maybe they would look at in the future. I know that, normally when the big coaches join up with the little sides, that is when we see improvement. That's what we've seen with Eddie Jones quite a bit throughout the teams that he has joined up with. Georgia beat Wales, but aren't allowed to play in the Six Nations. Says James Cody. It was Portugal's lucky day to win at that day, says Destiny. Right. Okay. Fair enough. Although Portugal, if you look at some of the other results that they've had recently, they're actually a pretty decent side. But sometimes not knowing all the information can hurt you. That's going to be a big kick downfield from Portugal. A little bit too much juice on that one, and Wales will go right back to where it was kicked from. We have got their rugby is the most enjoyable sport to watch, says AJS, and shouldn't World Cup winning coaches go and coach? Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? As a Yank, I'm relieved the Eagles aren't in this World Cup. It would just be the 3rd or 4th consecutive Rugby World Cup where they go 0-4 and the pool stages. Says Goy, and Eddie Jones carried England to the World Cup finals. And these small teams ain't easy. They're really making it hard for some teams out there that understand, says Yazina. Exactly right. Like all throughout that first round, we saw none of the extreme underdogs not be able to score themselves at least one try. And to be honest, even that is impressive in its own right. Because there was a time where those smaller sides don't get the opportunity to score. And Ola from Cuba, Wales have a complacency issue historically. I can't imagine the noise out of England. They were ever demoted out of the Six Nations, says Gus. Rugby is the most enjoyable sport to watch, says AJ. Yes. Now Thomas Williams, big scrum there from both of the sides. And Wales do get themselves the free kick. A bit too much of an early push there. Doesn't matter if you lose all your games. The only way to improve is playing the big lads, says Sebastian. And also, we're going to May the 4th, 2024. The Rabbitohs are playing in Las Vegas, USA, starting off the season for the first time, says Robin. I'm finally sitting down for a game, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. And there is still one more just around the corner. That is Ireland when they do take on Tonga. So anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, we are currently sitting 24 minutes through this game. Or almost 24 by the time Wales do get this ball out of the scrum. Over Romania scoreless against the box, says AJS. Yeah, even that, like if Romania are able to score and Scotland didn't up against the Springboks, surely that is huge praise to the Romanians for being able to do so. Big flat run from Johnny Williams. I'm glad USA isn't in the World Cup too, Igor. Says Person, one big shot coming in from the Portuguese defence. I believe that would have been Jose Lima. Ball is loose, knocked on again. And that seems very risky. And Portugal beating USA Eagles. Eagles is huge for Portugal and significant in a rugby circle, says Mark. And Gus, will be interesting. I think Italy and Wales are higher on the list for relegation, though. An Ireland match going to be physical. Yeah, I think Tonga are going to look to put in a few big hits early on in that matchup. But to be honest, I feel like Ireland, because they've played last week, I think that game could still end up being quite a one-sided score. But I'm hoping Tonga are going to be able to compete because Tonga, they've had 2 warm-up games up against the Canadians. Pacific Nations Cup, they weren't quite able to get themselves a victory throughout that competition. They've got some fantastic players. Tonga full of New Zealanders. Hopefully they can create an upset, says Business Lee. Now scrum for Portugal. That was actually very well done by Francisco Fernandez. Almost ended up going down. I've been told to play it. Offloaded up from his back. There was the Portuguese number 8. And now it's kicked down the middle of the field from Marquez. Cleaned up at the back by Lee Halfpenny. Imagine if Johnny Sexton gets an injury. Yeah, it would be massive for the Irish here. And it's quite risky that they've decided to play him. But I guess they're going with, they want as much game time going into the quarterfinals as they can possibly get. Ireland match will be brutal. Says Vasco there. Back into the pocket now. Anscombe. Puts it up high. I think Lewis Rees-Zammit may have been slightly offside at that one. Oh, and he's just had an elbow land on the back of his head. It's play on. And Bruno for Portugal. Nice line break. He's got the man with him, but he only just saw him then. It's a loose ball. Ugly communication or ugly connection on the ground in the Porto. This is a yellow card for Portugal playing the ball on the ground against Wales, I should say. So Johnny Williams, I think he saved a certain try there in a cynical nature. So he will be off the field for 10 minutes, but may have just helped his side stop a try for Portugal. I will not give up on the Eagles. Long before they become a strong team, plenty of rugby players and coaches from South Africa and the southern countries to work with USA Rugby. Yeah, Johnny Williams slapping that ball away. They are just talking about it, whether or not is there a chance that that can somehow be a penalty try. But I don't think they will look at it that way. It looks like that is going to be Guedes has stayed down. Romania chances against Tonga. Remember they beat them 2 years ago. Might be worth taking into consideration. I actually went with a real close scoreline between those two sides, I believe, in my overall prediction. I think I only predicted about 7 points between them. Can't watch the game, unfortunately. How's the game going? So Portugal have looked pretty impressive in this game. Wales have had some good moments, though. They were able to get themselves the first try. Lewis Rees-Zammit. Do you stay in Cape Town? Seems like I saw your face in Cape Town City, says Destiny. I am from New Zealand. So it must have been my double. South African media have been almost officially asking Tonga to injure Johnny Sexton, says Chad the Cat. And we have got there watching this game live. It's like watching rugby for dummies, says Rose. Now, sitting 10 metres out for the line. Portugal getting driven towards the touchline. They just ran out of space there. Not going to be able to work their way back infield. Brilliant defence from Wales in the rolling maul. Christ, Chinza, some big shots coming in from the Welsh. It was a decent throw. Went straight to Bello, but just too close to the sideline. We have got the Hamish. Do you ever wonder how many people are watching you while taking... I mean, there's surely a few along the way. We ask that everyone remembers wash your hands, of course. That's important. But, yeah, there'd be plenty. I would think solid 25 minutes by Portugal, says Blues Nate. Portugal is actually looking strong, says Chronic Underachiever. Wales have been told to use this ball once. Now Thomas Williams will put up the box kick. Now, I should mention, in terms of this game, that is a great kick from Thomas Williams there. That is certainly going to help his side get on the front foot. Portugal are $16 underdogs. Now, I will mention, at the start of this game, I have it here, they were actually $15 underdogs. So the fact that they've only gone down or up by $1 with the fact that they've conceded a try is actually pretty impressive for them in this case. And Gareth's been allowed to think for too long. And you need to keep his mind busy, says Sebastian. Now, taken by Portugal. A lot of pressure here on the Portuguese number 9, who does instead decide just to take the contact and make his way to turf. And Ireland versus Tonga. We are going to be covering that one on the channel. That is at 7 a.m. New Zealand time, so it is kicking off in 2 hours and 40 minutes. We will be live covering that one. How can rugby be grown if most of the world can't even watch the World Cup? Needs to be sorted. I agree. I said it at the start of the World Cup. The only way to get more people interested in rugby is make it free to air so that people are able to watch the games, get behind their countries, and also even if your country isn't in the World Cup, still have an option to be able to watch it. But I know that the highlights have been going up on YouTube pretty much straight after each of the games. I think a few full matches have made their way onto YouTube as well. But yeah, it's the live aspect of it that I think they need to try and work on. Nice backline movement here for Wales. Out wide here, going to Mason Grady. Very close to the touchline. He's out there, and Portugal will have themselves the line-out throw. A box need to get Andre Pollard, not Joseph Dweber, says AJS. And now, kick downfield again. Massive boot. Lee Halfpenny, he is at the back. He's covering a lot of territory throughout the early stages of this game. Do us a favour to show the image, please. I promise to ship my 65-inch TV to you, says Destiny. If you've got a 65-inch TV, then surely there will be a way of you being able to watch the game on that TV, Destiny, rather than me having to show it. And Wales need to kick more. Portugal is getting exposed in the air, says Chronic. Now, quick hands there from the Welsh forwards. Talupe Faletau breaks through one tackle, gets driven down in the second, and that's great work from Portugal. Clean turnover in the breakdown. And now, Kicking in behind, looking for the 50-22. It's curling as well, and it goes out 10 metres out from Wales line. Brilliant kick. The image of is this Kerr, says Gareth in there as well. But now 10 metres out the line, 30 minutes into this game, and Portugal now have the opportunity to try and level the score. Like I said, the crowd well and truly getting behind the Portuguese here. Hang on, what's happened here? We've got a scrum, is it? No, it's a line out. I was going to say, I was very confused when Carl Dixon said scrum then. And of the Wales versus Portugal game. Says, was there from Destiny. And we have got there, Portuguese are massively puffed. Tagier, nice throw from him. Now Portugal, 5 metres out from the try line. Jack Morgan, unable to get that turnover. Loose ball, picked up now at the back by Guedes. Finds the offload away. Now passing out wide. Chance, one-on-one, but he needs some protection. Dewey Lake trying to get over the ball. It is still on the side of the Portuguese. Marquez looks to shift it to the left-hand side. We will mention that Wales, they are playing with one man less on the field at the moment. Pick and go up the middle. Nice work. Or is it? No, the Wales. Turnover is there for Lee Halfpenny, the man who gets in and wins the turnover. So France won't play South Africa in the knockout, says person one. Not if it sits the way that it currently does. Predict the South African versus France final, says Di. We have to get there, Hamish, the highlights on YouTube per game. I put on the channel quite soon after each game, but done by Rugby World Cup exclusively, says Mark there. Again, you take a quick throw for a 50-22. Normally they can't, mainly because they don't go from the exact place that the ball goes out. So normally you do have to wait a little bit longer. So great kick initially from Marquez. They get them in a good spot on the field. There's a substandard rugby. All teams in Pool C and D are not worthy Tier 1 levels, says Louis. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an entertaining game. And as long as you're in the top two for your group stage, that is all that matters at this stage. Because we've seen upsets before in a World Cup. We could see whoever wins this side of the draw in Pool C and Pool D, they could go on to become champions. Because all you need is 3 good games once you get to those playoff games and you walk away with the title. So even if some of the games you feel aren't quite up to the mark that you want to see, all you got to do is look at that England-Argentina game. England got themselves the win. They didn't try and make it pretty. They made sure that they got the points on the board so that now they have more of a chance of making it through to the next stage of the competition. Wales now on the halfway line. Money means no free TV. Here in the USA, a major broadcast network is selling access to live matches for the Rugby World Cup 2023, says Igor. Put up high now from Thomas Williams, where the Portuguese have struggled a little bit under the high ball, though that was a very nice take from the Portuguese fly half, Portela. Now Marquez going for another big boot in behind. Thomas Williams takes it over his shoulder and get to half-time, get the kids off, put the A-team on. The B team is awful, says Rich, and come on Portugal, says Luke, now slinging it wide to the left-hand side. Still another 3 minutes remaining of Wales being down a man. Anscombe takes the ball just outside of his 22, looking to boot it back down the middle of the field. Sits up for Portugal. A little bit of football skills there. Inside of their own 22. And Marquez, another big boot from him. Rio Dyer lines that ball up. No upsets yet. What will be the upset, says Chad the Cat. That's a brilliant shot. I think Japan and England could be one that could have an upset. Also Fiji versus Australia has another good chance. Rev, where are you? We're missing you, says Caitlin. Maybe she did have too much popcorn yesterday, Caitlin, like we talked about, and then she might be... Can you get hungover from too much popcorn? Surely you wouldn't feel great if you ate like 15 kgs of the stuff. Thomas Williams now puts the ball high. That one's only travelling about 15 metres or so, but it's contestable. Portugal not able to claim it nicely. And now Christ Chinza going for the ball. He has slapped that one out of the hands of the Portuguese player, so it's a knock-on advantage now for Portugal, who once again will go for this kick in behind, looking for the 50-22. And they've got it again, Portugal. Wales, anytime they have players up, that is when Portugal are kicking it in behind and getting themselves those 50. 22s go Portugal. I like Wales, but I like seeing second team do well, says Igor. Trying to get Cuba into rugby. National hero Guevara was a keen rugby player, and rugby needs more exposure, says Gwyn 4. And also, I'd rather have Italy beat New Zealand than Japan beat South Africa, says person 1. And Pete said, Jack put it in my head, says Caitlin. And there as well. South African media has officially asked for Johnny Sexton to be injured. Rubbish. If you are referring to the Keo show, it's firstly one show with 2 guys. Secondly, they are joking and it's not a serious show, says Elias. Or Alias, is it? Now, trying to drive forward here, Portugal, under a lot of pressure. Brilliant sell of the dummy from Marquez. Now the back line looking slick. It's a good tackle made by Mason Grady. Should mention still 30 seconds remaining. In fact, it's too high from Mason Grady. It's going to be a penalty advantage now to the Portuguese. Fernandez playing at number 1 for this game. Francisco back into the pocket. Portugal looking for the 3 points. I don't like that tactic. And it's also missed. But if you've already got the penalty advantage, you might as well go for an attack. Try and score the try rather than taking the 3 points that you're going to get anyway if you go for the kick now. The Appleton dude is incredible, says Yvonne. I've always said making rugby free would help a lot grow the game in the fans' eyes. The whole pay-to-watch thing is a massive turn-off for many, says Sebastian. Exactly right. Like, there's other ways for them to make their money in terms of, like, yes, the big broadcasters want everyone to look at their coverage, but not many people do want to do that anymore. We're in the world of there's already so many things that you have to pay subscriptions for, whether that's for your phone or whether that's for Netflix, whether that's for a whole heap of other sporting ones. Like, people don't want to have to keep on adding everything on top. So, you know, full match replays after the games are great, but I think a lot of people would like to see them at the time. Well, but Portugal keeping this game close at the moment, lining up the 3 points. Like and subscribe, Hamish needs a cheer, says Yvonne. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Marquez has got that kick over, and that will now make the score 7 points to 3. What does 50-22 mean? It means that you kick the ball from inside of your own half and it goes inside of the opposition's 22, goes into touch, but it has to bounce first. Then if that happens, you do get to have the line-out throw, whereas if it wasn't a 50-22, it would be the opposition line-out throw. So you pretty much keep the ball is the best way of describing it if you get a good kick. The referee holidays in Portugal or something? Very harsh on Wales and very forgiving to Portugal, says Rich. I'll have a look at the penalty count. I think it's relatively similar at the moment between these two sides. I could be wrong, but I think it's about 50-50. What do we got? Penalties conceded. I don't know, 5 against Wales, 2 against Portugal in this case. And still Portugal for the W, says Vasco. Just evening it up over Fiji, says Yvonne. It's now going to be kicked high by Wales at the back once more. Portugal slapping it back onto their side. And now kicked him behind off the left boot. But there is a player back there. It is Lewis Rees-Salmon who's gone for the 50-22 attempt of his own. Stays in the field of play. Second tier, I don't think so. Says Russell, what time is it where you are? It is currently 4:28 a.m. here in New Zealand. We have still got the game around the corner between Ireland and Tonga as well. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Big run from Johnny Williams. Man who did end up going to the bin earlier on in this game. Currently only 1 minute 30 remaining in this half. Nice offload up again from Dewey Lake, the skipper. Back to the right here. Anscombe going across to Grady. Big bump off from Jack Morgan. It's a good tackle attempt. If Ronaldo was at the game, be huge for rugby, says person 1. Although I'm sure he's probably tied up with something else, isn't he, at the moment? Oh, Ronaldo, very busy man. Christ Ginza finds the offload up to Thomas Williams, who then gets away to Johnny Williams. That's off for your hard work. Hamish, his looks could be from anywhere in the English-speaking world, and his accent that sounds South African, says Igor. Portugal are experts with a 50-22, says Mono Lagrange, already having themselves 2 of them throughout this first half. Rugby, Thomas Williams, back across there to Anscombe. Good attacking opportunity here for Wales. They go out wide. It's too far in front of Rio Dyer. And now Portugal will have the option of a line out or a scrum. sure what one they'll actually choose here. I'd assume line out. Has any team losing at halftime ended up winning, says Sam Wilson? I don't believe so. I think throughout this whole World Cup, everyone who has led at halftime has walked away with a victory. So it's pretty intriguing, isn't it, when you look at some of those stats and see that whoever has the momentum in the first half seems to be able to just hang on to it. And Johnny Williams, tragic hairstyle, says Chad the Cat. Second half will be a different story, says Russell. Looks like there might be a bit of an injury here for Francisco Fernandez, getting a bit of cold spray on that shoulder. Honestly, Wales are terrible, but the way Portugal play is enjoyable, says James Cody. Yeah, it's very crisp backline for Portugal. And they find a way of incorporating that kicking game alongside it to make it very entertaining. But Wales, they've got a backline that if it fires, they are extremely hard to stop. We saw earlier on Lewis Rees-Zammit with the one try throughout that first half. And looks like it may be the only try that we actually see throughout the first 40 minutes. Oh, it's because he's charged in at Dewey Lake and just really smacked his shoulder into the side of Lake there. We see there, who are they? Are they the Portuguese team? I think it was the Portuguese side. Portugal is decent, says AJS. And great question, Sam, says Gus Grannon. Now in Portugal, look, they practice more kicking than any team so far, says Chronic Underachiever. And the way that they've been able to use it so far throughout this game effectively is actually, it's pretty impressive because there is always that side of things which is, if you go for those kicks in behind, you're giving the opposition the possession. But it would seem that Portugal are making Wales also have to go for that kicking game. That is going to be a penalty now in favour of the Welsh. Talupe Falatau takes the quick tap. He took a knee to the head there, so hopefully he's going to be all right as he did fall down. It's not surprising he's a little bit slow getting back up to his feet after that. Christ Chinza. Now Portugal looking to get that turnover. It's the one try in this first half. Johnny Williams in the middle of the field, 10 metres out from the line. Did not expect Portugal to give Wales such a hard time right off the bat. I wonder if they keep it up in the second half, says Andrew. But now Wales, they've got numbers. That's obstruction, but the penalty goes the way of Wales. Offside, then it's obstruction, says Carl Dixon. So that is going to end up being another Welsh penalty. Do they take the 3 here? I don't think that they'll want to, but is it they're 5 metres out? It looks like they're going to go with a quick tap and go. Dewey Lake taps it, drives towards the try line now. 3 metres out from the line. Very close, no advantage. Looking very strong for Wales now to score just before the end of the half. Johnny Williams gets the ball down over the line. And that will be his first try of this Rugby World Cup. We have got Show Us the Match, mate. Sadly, due to licensing, if we show any match footage or audio, we get taken straight off YouTube. But on the Rugby World Cup website, there is a list of where to watch, and you will be able to see exactly where you can watch it depending on whereabouts you are in the world. They are going upstairs for this try, so it is not guaranteed as of yet that it has been scored. Some comments are tier 2 themselves. Says Mark, Portugal ain't getting out of the group, so might as well just have fun, says James there. And Johnny Williams has the worst haircut I've ever seen, says Chad the Cat. A broken finger in the Warriors game was cringe, says person 1. Right, has Johnny Williams knocked this ball on? Right, he hasn't got control of that, so I believe that's going to be no try. But they were playing under penalty advantage for offside, so Wales will still have themselves one last attacking option if they do want it. Or if they want the 3 points, they will go into halftime with a 7-point lead. But with the amount of penalties that are now going against Portugal, this is the time for Wales to put it up another gear. No more, says Carl Dixon. Next time will be a yellow card. And careful, you get muted if you keep that up. Says Chad. Whereabouts was it? Portugal look like they've practiced more kicking than any team so far. Is that the one you're talking about? Oh no, try Wales number 12. And there, and now it's going to be the try for the Welsh. They went with a quick tap once more, and Dewey Lake gets himself over the try line. But there, bad haircut, my lord. Bad haircut, says Sebastian. And never wish players injuries. It's sport, not war, South Africa, says Goldberg. And no try, says Brian. But now it will be the try. And be great if Portugal hold on, says Brian, although this is going to make it very difficult for them now. They will go into halftime more than likely 11 points down, which is not impossible to make up, but it is still going to be quite the challenge. Hello, says Joe D. Commentators are talking about the fact that Wales did not want to go for the points there, instead going for the 7. And you have to wonder whether or not that is, not just in this game scenario they're thinking about it, but they need bonus points in the group that they're in, just in case it does go down to the wire. And also, Chad the Cat, mate, what did I do wrong? Says Chronic under review. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Chronic, I feel like, unless there was a message I missed, which I don't think there was. And hello, says Jody. And also, Wales should play in Tier 2 in the World Cup scene. Sorry, Wales, says Lewis. And also, when I was in school, I was watching Grey High School play against Grey College and saw a kid break his leg where his shin overlapped his knee. Hard to stop watching after that, or had to stop watching after that, says Justin. Come on, Portugal, says Goldberg. And be sure not to spoil what happens, mate. Please wait for Hamish to react to it. Is that what it was? We're a little bit quick, Chronic. Okay, I didn't know that. That's at the try. That's a surprise. I expected 25 from Wales by now, says Brian. So yeah, halftime in this contest. It is going to be sitting at 14 points to 3. And I'm my bad, mate. Says Chronic there. Every game is a boner. Oh, a bonus. I was going to say, I know some people love rugby, but that's really loving rugby, isn't it? A legend, mate, with the live comms from a Kiwi bloke in the Northern Territory. Says Flanders there. Yeah, we have still got one more game tonight between Ireland and Tonga, as well as 3 games tomorrow between South Africa and Romania, Fiji versus Australia, and then closing out the night with another exciting contest that will be Japan versus England. Only a boner when your team is winning, says Justin. Run the leagues off the Portugal team, get them knackered, step up in the second half. And hi, Clark, South Africa from Turkey, says Clark. There's a welcome in, mate. Yeah, I've also got their Portugal looking better than I expected, says Calmick. Yeah, they've had a pretty decent first half. Territory-wise, they've actually had more territory than the Welsh, 53%. They've also had 2 50-22s. Saw a bad leg break in a soccer match when I was a teenager, says Gus. Possession 57% at the moment in favour of Wales. They've had more running metres. Defenders beaten. They have beaten 12 compared to the 7 of the Portuguese. Scrums at the moment for Portugal is somewhere that they are struggling a bit as well, only sitting 50%, whereas Wales 100% in both scrums and lineouts. And Portugal play like Chile, says Joe. Wales could get a big fright here tonight, says Buffalo. Like a subscriber, Hamish has chronic jet lag to keep us entertained, says Yvonne. Yeah, we're on the weirdest sleep schedule possible for these World Cup games. But, fun fact, there are less than 40 matches remaining in this Rugby World Cup, which is absolutely insane. I feel like it's quite sad when you think about it, but we've had almost 2 rounds worth of Rugby World Cup action next week. For anyone wondering about the games that will be taking place on Thursday morning, these are New Zealand times, by the way. So at 3:45 a.m. New Zealand time, we will be live doing the Italy versus Uruguay game. France versus Namibia, that is on Friday morning. Then Argentina play Samoa. That'll be 3:45 a.m. on Saturday. Alongside that, Georgia versus Portugal, England versus Chile, South Africa, Ireland. That is going to be a very big game between 2 great sides. Scotland, Tonga, physical matchup there, and Wales, Australia. Depending on how the game between Wales and Portugal goes here, and Australia's game tomorrow versus Fiji, that game could be a very crucial one for both of the 2 sides. We've got there in the chat as well, Wales play like Tonga, and Sky Sport is behind. Most live sport is annoying, says person 1. And Chile was pretty impressive in the first half earlier, says Justin. Did you know that Victor Matfield was helping Portugal recently, says Clark? I did not know that, although I know that there's quite a few of those legends of the game going over and helping the slightly smaller sides, which is absolutely awesome to see. But a few of the stats in that first half, most tackles was made by Francisco Fernandes, the number 1 for Portugal. The most offloads coming from Rafael Simões at he had 3 throughout that half. And that is the number 8 for Portugal. Most running meters, Nuno Sousa Guedes of Portugal. Most carries, Rafael, Simos as well. So every single department, other than the points goes to Johnny Williams with 5, as well as Lewis Rees-Zammit. Other than that, it's been all Portugal. I really want to see Italy, Uruguay. Says Jody, what is your final prediction for this match? I believe my score prediction was 39 points to 14 between these two sides, or something along those lines. Kutsia, it's coaching Namibia, poor guy. Says Andreas, we have got there. In your opinion, what's holding back Wales from a pretty dominant game? Says Chronic. I think it's just the lack of possession at times that they've had throughout this game. Territory, they haven't been a problem. They actually had, I think, 97% territory throughout the last 10 minutes of the half. But I would say that it's just those little problems in the breakdown at the moment, not quite working well enough together, and then that's causing Portugal to end up with the ball, lack of talent in a crumbling system. Says Yvonne. Well, they've still had some decent moments. 12 defenders beaten. They're offloading the ball quite a bit throughout their half for Wales. Actually having 8 offloads compared to the 7 of Portugal. Wales will win. Portugal are looking good. Wales very poor first half. Wales are slow. No connection to each other, says the power of touch. And Wales to cut loose second half, says Andreas. Yeah, will be interesting to see what the impact will be like for the players coming off the bench. For anyone who doesn't know who is in the lineup, it is Ryan Elias at number 16, Domachowski at 17, and Francis as Wales number 18. Beard and Basham, the other 2 forward replacements, with Davis, Costello, and Josh Adams. Very experienced player to come off the bench later on in the game and fill in a gap. And the side, Costa, the front row number 16 replacement. Also Ferreira, I've heard some good things about him playing out there on the park. Lucas Amura and also Storti, the 3 replacement backs for the Portuguese. Now, Bello is at number 19. Martin Bello is in the starting lineup. Does that mean we've got 2? No, it should be De Freitas instead coming off the bench rather than Bello. I got very confused. I was like, hang on, we've seen him twice throughout this game. We have got there Chronic Portugal. And how's it, Hamish? Says David Dempster, doing very well. The Kiwi lads is Portuguese. Says Jody, I know a little bit of Portuguese, but not a huge amount. Hola, como você está? Bienvenido de nuevo ao canal de Kiwi lads. They could do with bigger screaming at them. Says Yvonne, and Wales going to have a big second half. Says AJS. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how quickly they do start the second 40 minutes of the game, and whether or not Portugal have used up a lot of their gas tank in their first half. Have you had a black label beer yet? Says Justin, I have not, no. They are just showing that replay of Johnny Williams just losing control of the ball at the back of the breakdown. But then from there, Dewey Lake able to score maybe only about 30 seconds later off the quick tap and go. That was in the 42nd and a half minute. And Portugal was entertaining in that first half, but I think they shoot their shot, and Wales should run away with it. Says Mo, and I hope Portugal does not fade away in the second half. Now just showing the comparison between Lewis Rees-Zammit and Mata. Mata having 60 metres carried compared to the 42 of Lewis Rees-Zammit. Tackles made 5. Handling errors 1 for Lewis Rees-Zammit, none for Mata, but the big difference is that try being scored by Rees-Zammit. Tackle breaks 3 for Mata, no tackle breaks for Lewis Rees-Zammit. This might big upset game if Wales don't get clinical, says Chronic. We have Black Label in Zimbabwe, says Mo. But looking at the betting odds at the moment, Portugal come in as $31 underdogs. So quite heavily the underdogs for these games. Definitely in the second half. And Hubby just informed me that a South Africa versus France final was impossible. This is a semi-final, says Die there. Oh, because they're on the same... They end up matching up in the semis, don't they? Interesting. So it can be South Africa Ireland or South Africa New Zealand, I would assume, of the sides on that side of the draw that they can face in the final. And Yankees is out. Flipped his career over South Africa, says Goldberg. Can't wait for the All Blacks versus Italy, says Mohammed. And they're only 2 weeks away, the All Blacks. They have got a rest week for the next weekend. We are still going to be covering every single game on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. They can meet in the final if they both to their groups, or if they both top their groups, says Justin. Just showing the dressing rooms. A lot of orange juice being supplied for these sides. I noticed that in one of the other games as well. I think it was Jonathan Tamatine was sipping a bit of orange juice. And Faletau has been amazing, the only Welsh forward with any credit, says Stephen. Yeah, he's probably been the standout in terms of across that forward pack. I'm just thinking Christ Chins has had a couple little moments, but nothing to the extent of Faletau. In the back line, you'd probably go with Lee Halfpenny. I think he's actually been pretty strong throughout that first half, getting into the breakdown and actually getting turnovers as well as running meters and kicking. 3 tackle breaks and 0 errors. So far, so good, says a Blues Nate there. But yeah, Lewis Rees-Zammit, it would be interesting to know how many of those times that Mata was able to break a tackle, it was Lewis Rees-Zammit who he knocked off. Absolute disaster. Your coffee is all over the floor. Says Sebastian, how did you manage that, Seb? Did you knock it off a table or did you just, I guess, underestimate how full it was? Portuguese open the first post office. Abe under the big tree. The big tree is still there. Says Obi, and I don't think Ireland has it in them to beat the Springboks, especially in knockout games. Says Chronic Underachiever. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one because I know throughout that game between Ireland and Tonga, I'll give you guys the spoiler alert right now, we are going to have a lot of people telling us as a whole that South Africa are going to win the World Cup, that South Africa are going to dominate the Irish. So just expect that because at this stage, I have accepted the fact that that will be what happens on that next stream. Drop the cup like a billick, didn't I? Says Sebastian, did you break the glass or did it end up kind of behaving itself? Because if it's broken glass as well, that just makes it even worse. You can't even like lick it up or anything. What? When Vasco da Gama came to South Africa or Africa, says Justin. And also Ireland going to shock the world, says Mohammed. And there as well. G'day Hamish, up to Monty Manu. And I do says Blues Nate. Yeah, I hope you're doing all right, Ian, after the last performance from the AB. Still a lot to work on. Why do you keep on picking off a Tuanga Fasi? Is it just because you have to get the handling error stats up for the side? Now only a couple minutes away from the second half getting underway. Orange juice is better than power juice. Old-fashioned introduction, says Goldberg. Yeah, there is a reason that kids have oranges at halftime in rugby games. It's not just because oranges are fun fruits. They've got some good vitamins in them. Vitamin C, mainly. I think the problem with underdog teams is being able to perform for 80 minutes. They all play well in the first 40 and then fade away second half, says Johan. And also we have good there. What do you think of Tonga? Chances against Ireland? I think that they're a little bit more slim than I would have liked them to be. The shards are already in the bin, says Sebastian. Watch out for the little shards as well on the floor. You don't want to cut your toes open. That is probably something that would be not a lot of fun. And what team will be the surprise of the Rugby World Cup, says Sports Fan? Who did I say in Tim's video was going to be my team that were going to be surprising? I think I actually went with Portugal. Maybe? Someone might be able to help me out. It was a video on Rugby Itch's channel about 2 weeks ago, which was about the I think that. And I think that my underdog team that I thought would do well was the Portuguese. It's been stolen. Pizzas are not too shabby, says Obi. And also we have got their Ireland is the number one side in the world. If they win, how is that be a shock? That's a pity. I went there years ago. I live in George, says Justin. And somebody order Uber for this gentleman, Sebastian, says Blues Nate. That is really weird timing because I've just got an Uber Eats ad here in New Zealand. Oh no, it's just an Uber ad rather than an Uber Eats. I've got there my surprise team is Fiji, says Mornay, and also Italy and Argentina will be the surprises, says Andre. And to be honest, off his size and strength, nearing 130, 6'4", that's what we need versus the big Northern Hemisphere teams, but I don't know what he's doing out in the wide channels, says Ian. Some great points there, Ian. I feel like you wrote that exactly how the real Ian Foster would write it as well, so you've done well in that department. I felt like I was actually talking to him. But yeah, just struggles a bit, doesn't he? What about Mighty Williams? He's even bigger, and he knows how to catch. Do you think Malcolm Mark's injury will affect us heavily? I think it's going to hurt the Springboks a little bit, but I don't think it's going to hurt them to the point of they will lose games because they don't have marks. I think it will just mean that they're not quite as accurate at line-out times. Fiji wins their sports band. They have got their game tomorrow up against the Australians. We will be covering that one on the channel. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Nick Mallett spent 10 years with Italian rugby, says Goldberg. And yes, Fiji too. I think they can surprise, says Andre. It's just a shame about Caleb Muntz because I know that if they had him at 10, they were going to be going a lot better this year. They've got Tete Tello, who isn't a bad option, but it's just he hasn't had a lot of game time and wasn't quite in that same form as what we saw for Muntz. Would anything less than a 3-digit score and South Africa, Romania be a bad game for South Africa, says Chronic? I wouldn't say necessarily. I think this game's going to be a learning one for the South Africans because with the fact that they've gone with so many changes, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a little bit of time for it to gel. South Africa-France final entirely possible, says Chad the Cat. And South Africa-Ireland final entirely possible, says Jack Cat. And would love to see Marks get a game in the flanker one day. Just laughs, says Justin. And young Tamaiti, there's a big future ahead of him. But he's still got a bit to go with his fitness. He's a bit green yet, says Ian. Okay, fair enough. Is he playing in the Italian game, though, at number 1? Surely, since De Groot's got himself a yellow card now. Just as long as Joseph De Weber doesn't come in to throw line-out ball, the box should be okay, says Mo. But the game back underway now. Wales will be kicking off from left to right. And we are back underway, ladies and gentlemen. How much time is left? 40 minutes now remaining on the clock for the Portuguese to try and make up the 11 points that they are down by. Currently in the wrong part of the field, inside of their own 22. It looks like now Marquez asking for a couple forwards to come in so that he is able to clear this. And now offer will be one to Mighty 17, says Ian Foster. Okay. Other way around would be ideal, but I will accept it. Portugal best team to watch so far, says Jimbo. And whoever throws in for the block, the ball will be thrown straight to Marnie Libok at fly half, says Chad Cat. Yeah, I did say in a video that Joseph Dweber, his lineouts are about as straight as a roundabout. And I still stick by that statement. They have got better, though. That's one good thing. They've got slightly better than they were. Portuguese best team to watch so far, says Jimbo. Yeah, it's been a fast-paced game, and they've been trying things while still playing with a lot of structure. Wales managed to get themselves that line-out throw correct. 14 metres out from their own line, and now Dewey Lake at the back. Hanging on to this ball. Jones is just getting started. Says Yvonne. What did you think of De Groot's past performances? He's looked a little bit below par, to be honest, over the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's a knock-on from Wales. Portugal, the ball is available at the back, and there's still yet. Okay, knock-on. Then knock-on by Portugal. It's going to be the scrum feed for the Portuguese. Well, I'm not surprised so many South Africans play in France, says Goldberg. Nana Davida Offer, the man, kicks from the sideline to get the W for counties over Cantabs. Says Blues Nate. Yeah, the Bunnings EPC, we're going to get to see a few games taking place today as well. I just realised it's Sunday morning. I slept through most of Saturday. It's really weird. It's the Northern Hemisphere time zone that I am working on being on. And come on, Portugal, says Goldberg. Ball fed in now, Marquez waiting for it at the back. It's available at the back, says Carl Dixon, so they do have to use it. Skip past there, looping around nicely for the Portuguese. Handling error, though. One of the rare errors we have seen from Guedes. Ball has popped out the side, kicked into touch, and they'll go back for the initial scrum again. Don't forget to like the live stream. Anxious commentary, guys, says Brian. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are on the road to 35,000 subscribers. So if you do want to help us out, it is greatly appreciated. Just one try, Portugal. Make the world sit up, says Obi. Just missing that ball. I think Mark's injury is bad news. It has been used as a feature to compensate for Sia, replacing with Weber, the mistake-ridden non-feature. And ho, says Chad the Cat. Although they're talking about Marco van Staren as the next option for hooker alongside Dion Fourie. An interesting fact that South Africa's World Cup squad, 7 separate players have been nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year, says Gareth. That's impressive, and that's not even including Lukanyuam, if he was match fit as well. I assume he would get added in, wouldn't he? And next year, when New Zealand comes to South Africa, they need to bring the Chiefs or Crusaders. Then they can play the Stormers. MSC our club teams play each other, says Justin. I know that the Crusaders are going to be playing Munster. So whether or not that becomes a regular thing of the winner of the URC versus the winner of Super Rugby, All that means is that the South African team now needs to win the Super Rugby comp, the URC competition, and then maybe we get to see that take place. Avançar and Fori are not battle-hardened international hookers, that's the problem, says Chad the Cat. Stolen by Portugal, not a lot of room to work with in the in-goal area, but they managed to get it out to about, say, 15 metres out from the try line. And 12 p.m. Sunday afternoon, or Saturday afternoon here, just starting lunch, and the Portuguese are physically so much smaller, says Yvonne. I'm seeing Pollard and Barrett outclassing each other, and Marco and Dion scrummaging worries me. Is Gareth. Stolen twice in a row by Portugal. Now getting back up to his feet. It looked very laboured for Grante to get back up. It's a knock on from Wales in the line out. Now another scrum feed for Portugal. And Boxer Border, yet I like Southland and the Waikato Chiefs. How do you like them apples? Says Mark, and great contest by Portugal, says Jacobus. And how long is Ethan de Groot going to be out? I would say probably 3 weeks. Maybe 2 if he's lucky, but yeah, at least the 2-week mark for Ethan de Groot. And it was a challenge that he just didn't need to do. At the end of the day, the All Blacks were winning easily. Didn't need to try and tackle that high. And now it means that the All Blacks will have a bit of a gap there while he's away. Portugal, if they can get themselves a penalty here, that would be ideal. Seeing as they're inside of their own 22, that is moving quite a bit. Well done to get the ball in, and now Wales will end up getting a clean scrum turnover. I think that Carl Dixon should have reset that one. It seemed like it was moving way too much for them to put the ball in. Anscombe puts the ball in behind. It is well taken there. The mark at the back for Rigo Motta. He's a long way off his wing to be able to cover that one. He realised that the chance was there. I'll kick this ball into touch. I have to say, at the moment, Wales maybe on the verge of getting themselves another try. They are right where they need to be, just out in front, putting the pressure on the Welsh, or putting the pressure on the Portuguese, I should say. Now, Dewey Lake, another line-out throw, that grab. Says O'Brien. I'm wondering at what stage. Oh, another steal at line-out time. That is actually something. Oh, why has he tried to offload that? That was a poor decision there from Mike Tagier. They did all the hard work of getting that ball to then just give it straight back into the hands of Wales, and that may be a sign of that little bit of inexperience in those big matches. Rio Dyer, one of the first times we've seen him ever run throughout this game. Advantage is over, and that is going to be Carl Dixon. He said scrum advantage, knock-on advantage over. Then the very next touch, Wales dropped the ball. He then said, never mind, I didn't call advantage over. That's my bad. I did it too early. Scrum feed to Wales. I think that's what Portugal are asking about. They're going, you called advantage over, and then you said, we'll go back for that advantage. But works in Wales' favour. And Bigger is back. Says Jody, and Portugal look great on attack. And did Wales not swing the scrum? Was it not a penalty to Portugal? Says Andre G. It did look like a risky scrum overall. Like, I would have liked to see them reset it because of how it was moving before the ball went in. Now Wales. Right, it's a free kick this time to Portugal. So I guess that kind of equals out quite nicely. And Marquez looks at the kicking option, trying to get that 50-22. Brilliant work from Rio Dyer, showing off his pace to get back there. Kicks it down towards the Portuguese 22. Now slinging the wide pass across. Another kicking attempt. They should have covered back there for Wales, and they do. Lee Halfpenny is there to take it. Big boot. Down to the Portuguese 22 now at the moment. The territory game, you'd say that Wales are slightly winning it. It's just that question of who's going to be the man who makes the mistake. Lewis Rees-Zammit going for the low kick. Brilliant take there from the Portuguese fullback, who now goes for the kick across field. But it will sit up now for Christ Chinza. And Wales have themselves an attack from halfway. He slips the ball out of his hands. Dewey Lake manages to straighten with it. It was an awkward tackle on him. Hopefully he is all right. Lee Halfpenny now with the step. He's had a fantastic game as well, showing off that experience the Welsh fullback. Missed pass there. Wales managing to pick it up, bit of shepherding, and the penalty goes the way of the Portuguese on the halfway line. The only promising team from the island of Britannia is Scotland. Uh-oh. Is it cramp? It might be for Guedes. Let's go there. How can the ref say advantage over? And then after the knock on, he returns the decision and play the advantage, says Andre. Yeah, it's an interesting call. And this is also an interesting call. Portugal going for... This isn't the right decision. Portugal are going for the 3 points here. The only thing I can think of why they would do that, it doesn't get them within 7. It doesn't really help them hugely. It's only, I guess, to slow the game down a bit more. But the problem is they're going to end up back inside of their own half after this 3 points if it goes over or if it misses. So I would have much rather seen them go for the corner. And Marks is the cornerstone of the Springboks. Ireland going to edge them now, says Tangata. And that grab of the Portuguese arm and the line out should have been a penalty. We have another pro-Wales ref. Says it was there from Brian. Now Marquez to line up this kick. This has to go over because or else it was a terrible decision from the Portuguese. It's missed and not the right play there. Portugal, what did you think of the broken leg last night? First time I've seen one of those in a while. Good old-fashioned stanky leg. Says Ian Foster. Yeah, didn't look too flash from. Hopefully he's going to be all right, the Namibian player, although it does seem like he's going to be out for around a year. Man, I need some sleep. Great commentary. I enjoyed it. Says Chronic there, and Tinker is in the chat here once again. She has said to subscribe or hit the like button if you haven't already. So yeah, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. Ryan Elias now making his way onto the field alongside Domachowski. And old mate Lee Halfpenny still out there representing. Says Blues Nate, but it is now kicked off. Knocked on there from Johnny Williams. Referee almost didn't call it, but they will now go back for the scrum. Wishing the young fella a speedy recovery. Our boys sent a signed jersey through to him, class act. Says Ian Foster. And also Adam Beard has made his way onto the field. That is for Duff Jenkins. I'm really confused at Portugal's decision, though, to go for the 3 points. I don't know whether or not they miscalculated how many points behind they were. They do still need 11. Going for the quarter in that scenario and getting a rolling maul started, going for a set piece would have been a much better choice, and hopefully they do that if they win a penalty here. Only 29 minutes remaining in this game. It's actually been flying by, this match. There was a bit of an early shove from Wales, or I think it was just the fact that it was a strong one. Ball is available for Portugal. Backline, miscommunication. And now Grady gets it back for Wales. Thomas Williams going off now to the short side. Jack Morgan, quick answer. Lewis Rees-Zammit decided he wanted to take contact himself. Playing penalty advantage for offside. Now I know that Portugal already had a warning for being offside. That was when they were just out in front of their own try lines. So they may not end up with a card as of yet, but they won't be a mile off it here. Another big run from Johnny Williams. Williams now. That is Thomas Williams. The ball back to Lee Halfpenny, and they'll go back for the original penalty once again. The next game that is taking place, it is at 7 a.m. New Zealand time, so 2 hours time, but in an hour and 30 minutes is when we are going to be starting our live stream, because we are going to be talking all through what will be happening throughout that game, looking at the previous fixtures that we have seen throughout this round of the Rugby World Cup, as well as the first round, and then also looking at the exciting games to come in this Rugby World Cup. Portuguese front row frustrated. The fact that it has been going down quite often. Thrown to the back there for Ryan Elias. Taken by Christians up. Missed the run of Talupe Falatau. Ball is now going to be cleaned up by Ryan Elias. Williams goes to the left. Jack Morgan. Nice break and run from him. Late into the starting side due to the last minute injury of Tommy Reffel. Numbers now. Anscombe decides against passing, though. Another penalty advantage for offside. This is getting very close now to Portugal. Heading to the bin for 10 minutes. Ball is ripped away, and they will go back for another penalty. What do you think of Lewis Rees-Zammit? He gives me Pinot Caleb Clark vibes with a solid offence, but average D. Okay, the Portuguese captain trying to ask what number it was that was offside. Carl Dixon said he didn't know. Probably the wrong answer to give as the referee if you've just penalised someone for offside. When do you ever sleep, Amos? Says Goldberg. At the moment, I sleep during the day because I stay up all night doing these live streams. I have to try and match it quite nicely. So today, I think I slept between about 5 p.m. and 12 a.m. New Zealand time. So about 6-7 hours, somewhere around there. Wasn't too bad. Overall, that's one of the longest sleeps that we've had on a weekend. Hello from India, says Vijendra. Welcome in. Maybe is wrong. You guys in the chat are correct. It is possible to have France versus South Africa final. Thanks, guys. I love the fact Hubby is wrong, says Di. And also, we have got there... Oh, the average D. I was confused at that comment, Sebastian, but now I've worked it out. Now, Wales, they are going to have to try and defend this scrum. Foster you, history maker you, says Tangata. Thomas Williams, looks like Lee Halfpenny sitting directly behind Gareth Anscombe. A little bit similar to what we see. Time off. Big push from Wales. Carl Dixon wants to have a bit of a conversation. There's too much instability on the set. You guys need to do better. Yeah, I think it was here. As soon as they get ready, Wales are trying to push before the ball is even in the scrum, which I think has been a bit of a problem there. And I don't know whether or not that's because Portugal are kind of taking off the slack a little bit. Cricket World Cup hasn't started yet. Says John in there as well. And play on. And now Thomas Williams. Now the ball has gone in. Down in the front. Advantage now again for Wales. Williams goes to Anscombe. Short ball to Johnny Williams. Once again gets within inches. That is great work from the Portuguese number 7. But they will go back for another penalty. Okay. Tight head is the one who gets penalised. John, I like rugby, says Abhijendra there. And hi, says Melissa. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. I miss you, my bro, Sebastian. There as well. Right, scrum, 10 metres out. If Portugal end up giving away a penalty here, they will more than likely end up with a player in the bin. And I'm a rugby player, says Bhavendra. And they're nice. Whereabouts do you play in terms of the position? And also, WF is Falatau doing out there. So Ian Foster looks like Ferreira. He has now made his way onto the field for Alves. So maybe with the fact that they have made that change, they're hoping that that may give them one extra penalty. It's a big tight head though. Ferreira, I talked about him being one to watch in these scrums. That little bit of extra size that he brings to the team. Wales, they've been right on the verge of scoring for a relatively long time here. They just haven't quite been able to do so, though. The scrum set. Thomas Williams feeds the ball in. No advantage given. So that is a benefit for Portugal. Thomas Williams shut down once again by Wilby Martins. He's had a fantastic game, the Portuguese number 7. To look by Falatau. Around the side of the breakdown, actually tackled by Martins, the man who I just mentioned. Adam Beard, 5 metres out from the line. If Portugal get themselves offside, they will end up with a man in the bin, and that was very quick. Then they rushed up there to look by Falatau. 2 metres out. Wales, they currently have got themselves the 2 tries. They'll be looking for their bonus point here. Round the side of the breakdown, they are over. And Wales will get themselves another try. Williams wants just to do a try, but he can't. Also, we have got there. It was my fault. Going to be here as often as I want to work. It's been taking up a lot of my time, but this is the World Cup. Not going anywhere. Says Sebastian. And all the good stuff, mate. I quit my 2 jobs. I quit my job 2 weeks ago so I could watch the World Cup without interruption. Says Ian, aren't you coaching the All Blacks currently, Ian? Surely you haven't got rid of that job just yet. Although you brought in Steve Hansen as well, I did see. And happy to hear that you sleep better. 7 hours is the right amount of time to sleep, says Mornay. Yeah, and that's the one day that I've got the 7 hours. Most of the other weekend days I get about 3 or 4, which isn't ideal. And higher, says Adrian Burr, welcome in, but that is the third try of the match now for Wales. Lee Halfpenny to line up this kick. And that one is good. Now making the score 21 points to 3. If Wales get themselves one more try, they will walk away from this game with 5 points. The second halves aren't worth watching, says Session. Nai Bavedra, says Tangata in there as well. But Jack Morgan fired up with that one. Sounds like more changes for the Portuguese. And Storta, I should say, coming onto the field. Good try. But at this point, looks likely now they need it, says Brian. And the World Cup is unpredictable, which is why so much more intriguing to watch, says Mohammed. Yeah, and everyone is still waiting for that big upset to happen. We haven't seen it as of yet. Could be just around the corner, though. You never know. Now kicked up high by Thomas Williams. Rio Dyer not able to take that ball cleanly, but does bounce out onto the side of the Welsh once more. Going for the kick in behind. It will be from Thomas Williams. Looking for that 50-22. Now at the back. You hear this? Let's get that ball into touch again. Too bad South Africa didn't win the Rugby Championship with so many great players. Says person 1. And alright, Wuss. How's things down there? Says Adrian. Is that me? You're talking to Adrian? You started off being friendly. I don't know whether or not you're talking to me or someone else in the chat. Now, Thomas Williams going across now to Johnny Williams. Those two have gone to each other. I've just had a massive upset, says Adrian. Just had a massive upset, have you? You wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Now, Gareth. To find the offload. Does almost get it away to Jack Morgan. It almost travelled forward as well in the process, though. Thomas Williams now thought about the flat pass instead. Penalty again for Portugal in the breakdown. Portugal playing some chip kicking across. Try. Says Goldberg, and Joe Schmidt and Jace do all the work. I just do press conferences, says Ian. And how do you think Portugal have been so far? I think they've been impressive throughout that first half. They were very much in that contest, but sadly for them in the second, that is when we've seen Wales find that little bit more momentum. We guaranteed to see it next weekend. Ireland versus South Africa. Yep, it is one of the locked-in matches that are taking place. I'm all about Chin's running style, says Session. And also we have got there, just drop me pint, says Adrian. Well, looks like you got butter fingers, mate. You got to make sure you're hanging on to that thing like your life depends on it. Thomas Williams, though, being put under pressure in the breakdown from Granate. Would you take Gareth Anscombe or Lema Sipawonga? If you call back one into the All Blacks, probably Gareth Anscombe, to be honest. Lema Sipawonga, he's a great player, but I just don't know whether or not they'd go with them. If they had the choice, of course. While Wales wearing black and yellow, is that about the colour blindness? Yeah, they are in their alternative strip. And Wales are going to win, says Mr. Dubros. They're in a pretty decent position at the moment. We have got their first coffee, now a pint, says Sebastian. Portugal now move up to the 22-metre line. Another nice step. This is actually the youngster, Morta, who has just made his way onto the field. Or Storti, sorry, I should say. Rather than Morta. I believe Morta still out on the wing waiting for this next pass. Beautiful wrapping around play. Storti again. Almost gets tackled by his own teammate. Portugal are yet to cross the try line. In this game, we have already seen Namibia be unable to score in this round. I like the Dragons, but only one team can wear black, says Session. Now back across. Loose ball. Portugal into the corner. It's going to be Rio Dyer who stops the run of Storti. I've been falling asleep and haven't kept up with the banter. Forgive me, chat, says Caitlin. It is 7:15 p.m. in South Africa, isn't it, Caitlin? We must... Oh, to be fair, you did stay up late for the game yesterday and the day before, didn't you? So, I won't be offended. because these Portuguese wear a deep red, says Goldberg. And look at what the Springboks wore. Says Goldberg, yeah, they had the multicolored kit that a lot of people did not like. I know the Ospreys wear black also. They do indeed. The Ospreys, some decent Portuguese players. Yeah, there's been some guys who have stepped up in this game. Definitely number 7, João Granate, I think is one to watch out for. In fact, sorry, him and Nicholas Martins, another guy who I think we've seen quite a bit of good stuff from. And Paul Lass is knackered. Says Sebastian in there as well. Now offloaded away. Storti. Boy, he has had the ball a lot since making his way onto the field. And now Guedi passes out wide, close to the touchline. Big contact coming in from Mason Grady, who's really known as just a battering ram. I was up at 5 a.m. as normal. I had not eaten, says Caitlin. And there. Yeah, that would have tired you out quite a bit. What type of pizza did you have? I know you said you had pizza earlier on, or you were going to have pizza. Did you have pizza? And go Portuguese, come on, says Jody. They have got themselves another penalty just out from the 5-metre line. What do Portugal do here? They have to either kick for the corner or take the quick tap. Yep, he's calling for the forwards. Oh no, now they decide that they do want to kick for the corner. And Springboks can wear the budgie smugglers and still appear in Nightmare. Says Session. I love Italy to upset New Zealand, says Rich H. And at the moment, it does seem like one of those options that could happen throughout that 4th round of the Rugby World Cup. Portugal getting a lot of support from the crowd here. And I think that was just Mike Tajir just taking in the atmosphere, looking into the crowd and just enjoying the fact that they've got so many people. Oh, what a play from Portugal. And that's a good try. And it is Nicholas Martins who gets over the try. It was a little set piece off the back of the line out. That's probably the best try we have seen of the game. Lewis Rees-Zammit's kicking behind was very nice that he did, but we knew with the speed that he would be able to do very nicely. But that was unexpected from Portugal. Offloaded to the front, massive gap, as well as prepared for the rolling maul. And that is fantastic work. Just off to him and drove through the tackle attempt. What a try from Portugal, says Vitamin Green, and what a ball, says Ian Foster. And sweet chili chicken and feta. That sounds like a good pizza. And we Wales are doing the job, nothing fancy, just doing the job. Good news. Got another pint and I'm gripping it like a teenage gripper, as you know, says Adrian. And there as well. Good. Don't drop that one as well, or else it starts to get quite expensive, doesn't it? The pronunciation of the man, says Etta. Homemade, says Caitlin. For their pizza, and that's sharp, says Sashin. Yeah, it's something that's caught Wales off guard big time. I don't think they were expecting it. Now a tough kick from near the touchline. Portugal have got 16 minutes remaining in this game to get 3 tries to win them the game. The kick has once again hit the post and bounced back out. A really nice Portugal, says Gus. And yeah, brilliant, go Portugal, says Goldberg, and try. And also we've got their best haircut, says Session. I assume that's not to me because my hair at the moment is a bit rough, unfortunately. And no transformation, says Jody. And also it was a good kick by Rees-Zammit, but he still has an average D as the stuff socks down the job. And Folatel's 3rd World Cup, says Stone Cold, and that's the best line-out try for sure, says Ian Foster. And it's probably not even just in this round, maybe across the whole competition, just because of how open it was. Now, if Wales had a defender there, maybe it could have been a different story, but it was just such a big gap that they were able to exploit. Why is Portugal playing rugby, says Stephen? Because they're in the Rugby World Cup. So if they didn't play rugby, it would be unfortunate. You deserve a big Kiwi breakfast this morning for your awesome work, mate, says Flanders. Oh, I love a big breakfast. Hash browns, eggs, bacon, bit of toast, sausages. I'll probably end up having like a banana. It's not quite as good, is it? You look very nice, neat, says Goldberg. And Joe D's, it's conversion in English. And also we have got there needed the conversion, says Brian. And Portugal wrecked the Tier 2 nation, says Sashin. A great try. Might there be 2 more? There's a chance. And actually, now that I do the maths in my head, they only need 2 more tries rather than the 3 to be able to step into the lead. Wales need one more try, another loose line out. That has been a talking point of this whole Rugby World Cup for the Welsh. And now Portugal breaking the line again, just not quite able to break through that tackle attempt of Johnny Williams. Flat pass away. 19 finds his offload now. This Portuguese side just playing like a side that don't realise that they're not supposed to be in with a shot in this game. And Portuguese, no, not one of those, I don't think. Don't forget the baked bean sandwich with cheese. Says person 1. And a raid of Portugal, says Mono Lagrange. I hope Wales win with 30 because I'll be in the lead of my Super Brew. Nice inside ball again. Going to Appleton. Now just phase after phase at the moment for the Portuguese. That looks like some sort of injury here for Appleton. Hopefully nothing too serious. I think they're going to need him throughout the later stages. Bounce pass there for Portugal. Rio Dyer misses the tackle. It's starting to get a little bit sloppy from Wales on defence. And that is where Portugal could try make the absolute most of it. Now the big man Smulis and number 8. Back across again. We're hearing some booing from the crowd. I'm not sure whether or not that was because they felt there was an offside. Good attacking run from the number 19. Influentes. Good hands there from Portugal, just with the knock on though at the last moment. And they will be going back for the scrum. I'm GY Evan to Portugal, says Jody, and Rio Dyer, captain average, not an international winger. And if me, this Wales performance is so shockingly bad and shambolic, shameful, utter a bunch of clowns. And numpties, Thomas Williams and Anscombe out to be nowhere, or ought to be nowhere near the international setup, says Tomash. Yeah, it hasn't been the best performance from Wales overall in this game, but I think some credit goes to Portugal, of course, with the way that they have been able to put the pressure on the Welsh. But yeah, it just seems like overall, Wales, in getting 3 tries, haven't looked like a side that's got 3 tries, if that makes sense. And sponsor must be bananas, says Robert in there. Don't forget about the Red Roaders versus Canada. Games next weekend also, Hamish, says Ian Foster. Yeah, I do see that Kenya versus South Africa was taking place today. I think Japan were playing South Africa in something as well. Loving your commentary, says Di. And also, no way, says Jody. Now ball. To be fit and big push there from the Portuguese. And the ball is loose out the back. Going to be picked up there by Sam Costello. I felt he did pretty decently in the game up against South Africa when they were under a lot of pressure. 12 minutes remaining at the moment and only around that 12-point mark difference between these two teams. And scrum, says Session. And also Wales will be playing the All Blacks, says David there. And we got to have a proper flesh and rant tonight, or rant tonight, says Gareth. And I look forward to seeing it, seeing what he feels Wales could have done better in this game. And Wales says Marilena there. Kicked high by, oh no, not taken cleanly by Portugal, and it bounces back in favour of Wales again. Having to play half back, it's gone backwards. They will go back for the scrum now again. Just starting to get a little bit sloppy from both sides, but I think that is that little bit of extra pressure that we are seeing being applied. But for the Welsh, Gareth Davis has come off the bench to replace the man who was in his 50th cap, Thomas Williams. Their number 10 for Portugal looks so young, like a kid, says Jody. So that is the youngster Geronimo Portela, I believe. And now it looks like they are going to be making the change. Lee Halfpenny also making his way off the field. And come on, boyo, smashing time. But it was a brilliant game by both fullbacks, I feel, for these two teams. Oh, yeah, they're not sure yet. May have to stream it via ITV or TSN, etc. Says Ian Foster. How many points you rate Ireland are going to win by? Says Session. I believe I predicted them to win by about 40, I think it was, or something along those lines. I got my score predictions all on my phone, but we will look at that when we are at that game. We have got a 30-minute build-up for that match as we are going to be looking through all the games that have already taken place. Davis, nice run on the short side off to Rio Dyer. I think he ran out of space. It might have been in touch there. Referee's got a big decision to make. It looks like it will be Portugal, who have got themselves the line out. And a Portuguese number 10, a good player. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of these Portuguese team or Portuguese starting lineup that have put in a very decent showing. Hamish, shout out, happy birthday. Mama Grandma says, Gareth, a shout out to Seb's mum, happy birthday to her. I don't have the guitar on me at the moment, but I would have played happy birthday if I did. And 40, no way. Says Ian Foster. Yeah, I think it was 30 or 40 I had, somewhere around there, 70 minutes in. I still have no comments. Must be dying. Says Peter Wild. Yeah, it's been an interesting game. And thanks for the commentary on holiday in Dominican Republic, so can't watch live sitting poolside and loving the score, says Anna Laurie. So hopefully you are enjoying your trip. Is it, I assume it's warm temperatures in Dominican Republic at the moment. Okay, they are just talking about these Portuguese youngsters and maybe that they will get picked up by other teams around the world, whether that's in France, England, maybe even in the URC. The momentum tracker, it's had a lot more momentum in favour of Portugal in the last little while. Did you watch Otago versus Taranaki? I did not get to see that game, unfortunately. I would have liked to watch it. It's 30 degrees Celsius here at the moment, says Anna. So, or Anne I should say, rather than, or is it Annie? Anne-Laurie? Anne-Laurie. I feel like I slightly said it wrong, didn't I? So I do apologise for that. Yeah, it sounds quite pleasant. Lee Halfpenny. It's great to see him still in the Welsh kit. I think that him and Liam Williams, two very good options at fullback for the Welsh. Now Portugal, 25 metres out from their line. Throw into the back of the line out nicely, taken at the front by Avalebo Simos. Got the thumbs up there. Chad as well. Oh, is that illegal? No. Adam Beard, I thought that he was a part of that rolling maul, so I thought he wasn't allowed to slap that ball out of the hands of the halfback, but they have said play on now. Cross kick attempted from Sam Costa. Low overcooked it. They will go back for the original knock on that they have called against Portugal. I think they're pretty unlucky there, though. I'd like to see a replay of that. So the ball comes off the back, then from there, slaps it out of the hand. I've said it's legally. He got the arm. Where did he get the arm, ref? I don't think he touched the arm. Okay, that's a controversial one, unfortunately, but Wales now have got themselves a scrum 22 metres out. And number 9 says Jody. And also Chinza is some unit. Hey, he certainly is. A slap out of the hand. Must be a knock on. Says Ian Foster there. Oh, now they've changed their mind. They've just realised that it's a knock on from Adam Beard and it must be Portugal's scrum. I've got confirmation it's off black, says Carl Dixon. As if he didn't just watch it. And happy birthday, Kiwi says, no, not my birthday. Sebastian's mum's birthday. And this one, you'll meet your future wife here on your channel. You have a lot of female fans now, says Stone Cold. The thing is, we only had, I would say, less than 0.3% of a female audience. Probably at the start of this year. And now we're almost up to 1%, which is, it's pretty huge compared to the numbers that we did have. So we appreciate not just, of course, our male viewers, but also our female viewers do pop in as well. That's gone down in the front. Portugal take the quick tap off the penalty. Now, looping in behind. They're all on the same wavelength in their backline, I do have to say, the Portuguese. And cheers, Amish, says Sebastian. And there I feel a couple of tries coming our way. And Wales good fair play. Says Joe Dan, that will be the knock on from Portugal this time. Come on, Portugal, says Sam Wilson. As well. 7.5 minutes remaining on the clock here. Not a lot of time for Portugal to be able to get back into this match. If they score themselves a try and they convert, they will actually receive themselves 1 point for being within 7. I haven't seen our rugby lass for a while, says person 1. If you are talking about Katie, she has been about, I think she was on last weekend, was the last time she was on one of the streams. They've got players hitting all sorts of lines. Must be very tricky to defend. We have got there, Hamish. It seems that there are some attractive Ukrainian women in a paddock 1.5 kilometres from you, just next door, says Shad the Cat. Well, after the last live stream, I shall go searching for them. Although I had to find a paddock first. I don't know if we got a paddock 1.5 Ks from me. Maybe. Go, 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 Portugal, says Joe D. Now Portugal, they have got themselves a kick into touch here. Yet again, another penalty. This man looks 12 as he makes his way out onto the field. He's got number 21 on his back, which I assume is about how old he is. Lucas getting the chance now. And Taranaki look like the team to beat this NPC. But Canterbury are crazy. Who is the favourite this year for the NPC? I'd say Taranaki definitely right up there as a great option. Tasman just haven't quite looked the same as they have in past years as well, I think, which has been hurting them. We have got their Wales from David Richards. Another run for from Portugal. Position-wise, I think they've probably had just as much of the ball in this game. Oh, stolen though by Jack Morgan. Absolutely brilliant turnover. Looks like there is an injury here for Portugal as well. They are currently playing with 14 men on the field. Lewis Rees-Zammit picks the ball up. He hasn't existed for the past about 20 minutes and now has a good opportunity. Finds the offload away to Davis, and that will be the bonus point for the Welsh. We've had all the long-time viewers popping in every now and then. Katie, David, Johnny, and seen Steve Smith in a while. Says Sebastian, yeah, he's probably the only regular one from back in the day that we haven't seen pop in too often at all. But hopefully he is all right. Has Isaac with a K. Has Isaac with a K. He's good. Says it was there from Gareth. I took a really long time to read that, didn't I? We are playing great. The only ones on the World Cup not 100% professional, says Rhett. Is that true? I thought that Chile also don't have a fully professional team. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I've heard as well. A lot of their players play part-time and then work full-time alongside it. Dan Portugal refused to play after losing the ball, says Jody. And the fall-off, says Sashin, and also thought Wales would be better than this. They had to be part of the 1%, says Di. Yeah, it's absolutely awesome having people all around the world tuning into these streams. Oh, they're checking this one, I think. Hamish, are you able to see when people subscribe? Would love to know who was first, says Gareth. I think there is an option somewhere, but the only thing with that is they have to have it that they're publicly subscribed. So that means that the first subscribers, maybe they won't have their names there because they didn't subscribe publicly, if that makes sense. There's a list that I can see. Subscribers, see all subscribers, lifetime, and lifetime based off date subscribed. Our most recent subscriber was Springwater372, so shout out to you if you're watching this live stream. I appreciate you being here. First live stream subscriber, I believe, was someone called Sports C. That is registered as one of the first. A few people that I know. The Rugby Guru, he was one of our very first or early subscribers. Gregor Galway, that is a name that we've seen recently as well. And also we have got there, Go Go Portugal, says Jody. Now, thrown in, over the top, Wales get the line out back. And Wales are good enough to win this. Isn't it great to see Portugal putting up such a great show? The weaker teams closing the gap, says Annie. Exactly right. I feel like this is one of those games that Portugal, on the scoreboard, it may not look too flash for them now, but we know they've been right in that contest. I should mention the scoreboard. It's a little bit closer because of the no try being called. So it is 21 points to 8. Nice. Oh, he's kicked him in the face. And I believe that was Josh Adams. He is actually ended up, he wasn't going to, but then he got kicked. And then he kind of did the face hold, went, ow. Kiwi lads, do you think Fiji was robbed? Yes. You should host a rugby quiz night, Hamish. I want to flex my rugby knowledge, says Ian Foster. The only tricky part of doing that, yeah, super kick to the face of Josh Adams. Problem is, it's not legal. You are not allowed to kick a player in the face. He did over-rotate, so he might end up getting himself a yellow card here. Maybe even a red. Like I said, it's an unfortunate collision, but it just looks like he might be going off the field now. Oh, yeah, close to the eye of Josh Adams. Evening, Hamish. I've really enjoyed both the games today. Lovely to see the minnows throwing the ball around, says Joss Pike. Said it's an unnatural foot position. It meets the yellow card threshold, so then they'll have to make the decision of whether or not it gets upgraded. It's number 14 white, so that is going to be Vincent Pinto. That's one of the first times we've seen him in this game. And it's a yellow. So here's Richard. When is the Australia versus Fiji game? It is going to be 3:45 a.m. tomorrow morning. Getting pissed as the boys are winning, and even more when they have one, says David. George, is that for George becoming a subscriber? I don't think he's got his subscribers on public, so we can't actually see that. But a few people from school are subscribed, I do see. Some of the early fellas, the Rugby Opinioneer, some of you guys will know him. Who else we got? Where's one of those recognisable names that I've seen today? I'm not seeing anyone just yet. And now playing the rolling maul now. The kick was not deliberate, should be no card. He jumped for the ball and had no control, not fair, says Andre G. And Matthew Carley was under fire after the Wales versus Fiji game, says Edwin. He certainly was, and to be fair, he should have been, because that was pretty poor. In that contest, that's going to be the knock-on this time from Wales. Portugal have now got themselves a scrum. Am I recognisable yet? Ian Foster has said, you certainly are. You'll be known as the ex-All Blacks coach in a few months. Are you going to be doing that Australia game? We certainly are. We have got also a preview for that match coming out later on today, so be sure to check that out as well. He doesn't even know he kicked the guy in the face, accidentally played the ball, says Andre. The problem that they've got is, like, he didn't mean it, but because of the way that they write it, they say that it's his responsibility to make sure that he comes down in a natural position, which is extremely easy to write in a bit of paper or something like that, but it's a different thing when you're actually up there and your momentum has changed. Fiji won the people's heart after that game, says Edwin. I'm proud of the 1%. South Africa says B. Goldberg. Or the 1% is female Goldberg. Oh, I think our percentage of South Africans probably about 20 or 25%. Ex-Avies coach says Stone Cold. South African flag there from Session. Big push from Wales at scrum time. Gareth Davies able to slap it out of the hands. And it is going to be the knock-on again. We've got 2 minutes for a bonus, says Jody. Yeah, that is true. And now they've got themselves a good opportunity to be able to do so. I actually forgot that with that last try disallowed, it meant that they weren't going to be able to get themselves the bonus point as of yet. I should mention that we've got 50 minutes until the start of the next live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That is Ireland versus Tonga. And it's going to be an absolutely awesome game to watch on the channel. Then we've got the 3 games tomorrow with South Africa versus Romania. It's going to be Fiji versus Australia. And then other than that, they've got Japan versus England as well. Just still trying to decide whether or not it is going to be upgraded. Fiji or Australia. I think Fiji are going to really push in that game. It's just whether or not Australia can continue their momentum, I think, is the big factor in that one. And Ireland versus Tonga. Johnny Sexton has made a glass, says Chad the Cat. It's going to be an interesting game to see how they go, because they have stuck with a pretty similar lineup to what they did have in that first game. All 4 of the players who scored 2 tries are going to be playing once more. Nice step there from the youngster, Sam Costello. Now with 45 seconds remaining, Wales cannot afford to be able to make a mistake. I haven't seen anyone commentating on the Ireland-South Africa game, says Alani. Next live stream is when we're going to see a lot of it. I can guarantee you that. But it's just because these 2 sides are a part of Pool C rather than Pool B. Now another advantage to the Welsh. So this is going to go on for a little bit longer here. Can Wales walk away with the 5 points? Going to be running sideways here from Josh Adams. Ball on the inside, taken back by Portugal, and they will return back for the penalty. Marika versus Semi and Tuisova versus Karevi. Can't wait, says Edwin. Yeah, there's some absolutely awesome battles that are going to be taking place out there on the field. They've got the options here, scrum, line out, or the quick tap. Offside on the 5. I think they've got to go for the scrum here, Wales. And with the way that they are setting up their 4-pack, that is exactly what they are going to do. Come on, Portugal. They are putting up a good effort. Does not look good for Wales. As Fiji should have beaten them. Wales are the middle of the road team. Looks like an Ireland-France final, says Annie. Now, as soon as we have a stoppage here, it is going to be the end of the game. Whether or not the Welsh have got one last try up their sleeve, or whether they will be just narrowly missing out. We see in there Teixeira. He isn't. The thing is, Portugal may still look to continue in this game. So the only thing that's stopping this game, I believe, is a handling error. Because Portugal will want to score themselves one try more in this game. Ireland won't risk their first XV against Tonga. Says Stone Cold, they almost have. To be honest, like if we look through at their side, they've got Johnny Sexton, Bundy Aki, Tyg Byrne, Josh Van den Flair, Caelan Doris, James Lowe, if I didn't already say him, Mac Hansen. In the midfield, they have gone with Gary Ringrose, Hugo Keenan, their best 15. He is also in the starting lineup. Tyg Furlong, Andrew Porter. They've put out their first team in that game up against Tonga. Yeah, the last thing they want is any injuries. Ireland is the number 1 team this year, says Jody. And see you in a bit, Hamish. Enjoy your kiwi brekkie or a banana. And also, we have got their fantastic commentary. Thank you. I really enjoyed, says Adrian. And no shame, Portugal. Good effort, says Peter Wild. Exactly right. And we have still got one more play here in this game that Portugal get a converted try. They get a losing bonus point, says Sebastian. Exactly right. So that is what they'll be looking for in this game. But that might also play into Wales' advantage because we may actually see them take on a bit more of a risk. South Africa will be Ireland for sure. Says Die. Now the ball is in. Big push from both of these sides. The Lupe Faletau. He's over. And that will be the bonus point for Wales there. They will walk away from their 2 first games with 10 points on the board, all but securing their spot in the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals now. They still have their game up against the Georgians. They still have one other match up against the Australians next week. France will not fail. Who dared suggest such nonsense? Says Young. Wait a minute. Are we checking this? Or not? Oh. The yellow card has been upgraded to a red card. So that's going to be interesting for that youngster, Vincent Pinto. He may be missing a couple games now. He is in tears on the sideline. You can tell that it wasn't intentional, and now, unfortunately, that youngster's World Cup may be put in jeopardy. I don't want to bet on Australia and the Fiji game, but I don't know who to go with. Or I want to bet on it, says Rex. Well, if you want to bet on it and you don't know who to go with, that is a perfect example of a game you shouldn't bet on. Because if you can't decide who you want to win, and you don't know whether or not you're thinking with your head or your heart, that is where you may lose some money. It's the Irish ball retention that blows my mind. They build so many phases this session, and they do it in such quick succession as well. We've got to remember. It's game over yet. It is now over. Last try being scored by Wales. So they will walk away with this game with the bonus point. Red card is obvious. Says Session, and I'll stay out of Africa. I did stay out of South Africa. Says Person. And also we have the Portugal wore white. Says Session, and it was an accident, but you can't kick your legs out in the air, says Ars Robinson there. And the veteran gives Wales the bonus point, says Robinson in the chat as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this contest, 28 points to 8. So what that means is Wales will move up to the 10 points. Dan Bigger on the sideline, very happy wearing his Welsh polo, which is a lot better than he was last week because he was yelling at all his teammates. But this week, he looks like he's calmed down. He's had some therapy throughout the week. He's ready to go for next week's game up against the Aussies. Not as good score for the Welsh, says Hangarat. Oh, bless him. Unintentional and gutted for him, says Adrian. Are you covering the Irish game too? We certainly are. So we will be starting that live stream in 45 minutes time. And that one is going to be a very entertaining game between the Irish and the Tongans. We have got, come on Portugal, you can beat these Welsh Rabbits, says Young, although the game is now over and it's 28 points to 8 in favour of Wales. Hang in there, Hamish. It will be between Wales and the All Blacks, says it was David. And red card should not have even been a yellow, not intentional. These are the things I do not like about some of the rugby rules. The rest think out rules as the game goes on. Says Adrian, it's over, bonus, and Portugal gets the red, says Brian. But yeah, the next game, like I mentioned, Ireland versus Tonga. For anyone wondering what other games we have got of this weekend, we have got them here. It's going to be the match between South Africa and Romania. That is tomorrow morning, New Zealand time. We will be starting an hour before kickoff, looking through all the previous fixtures that we've had, looking at stats as well throughout round number 1 of the Rugby World Cup. Australia versus Fiji. Massive contest between those two sides. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do there. And England versus Japan at 7 a.m. New Zealand time. Should be a terrific game as well. But yeah, entertaining game overall. Portugal, they put on a decent fight. Wales had their moments where they did look a little bit scrappy, but still able to get themselves the bonus point. And thanks so much, great commentary as always. Says Neil. And also we look at there putting my lucky South Africa socks on for today, tomorrow's match this session. And also we have got there, look at our Welsh side compared to our first team that played Fiji. So the Welsh bench players were dreadful today, says Robinson. Who scored the 8 goals for Portugal, says Mr. Mo. So the 1 try was scored by the Portuguese number 7, I believe it was, if I'm not wrong, Nicholas Martins. And it was off the set piece. Dan Bigger is an idiot last week, says Amorne Lagrange. And are they Peppermint Socks, says Goldberg, get your biltong and spaghetti ready for tomorrow's match, says Mr. Mo. And there as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. 45 minutes time, we will be back for the start of the Ireland versus Tonga build-up. We will see you all for the next one.